Good morning. This is Beaty-Coffey of the Ministry of Uncover No More. I did some work as a sorceress with my crystals, and yesterday it was crystals and something else I can't remember. Chakra and crystals, which is a different power with wands, magic wands. It's a different power, just as powerful, just as relevant. It's a balancing force with runestones. And I have two sets. One set is from the master, Ralph H. Bloom, and then one set is wood, and it's just as appropriate. And I was using the wooden runes yesterday with the chakra. I have two sets of chakra. One is a personal set where I went to a shop and the lady there helped me, you see, and that is what the set I was using. And then the other set goes with the actual book about the 7 chakras for your life personally, and I have that in a separate place, and I actually married it, so to speak, yesterday with I Ching. I was introduced to I Ching through Ralph H. Bloom runes. My runes that are Ralph H. Bloom are in a separate place now. They are not with anything. I Ching called back up my animal wisdom tarot, and that's the third prong, as it were, of everything I'm discussing here with magic is tarot. And excuse me, animal wisdom is not tarot, it's oracle, but I put all cards in the same zone. I Ching being what I have is cards. I'm not using the little discs yet. And it's going to be quite some time before I do, because I need to slow the trajectories of my life down. All of that being said, I was in deep meditation yesterday, very deep, all day, doing work, also in my home. And what I can tell you is I drew from my personal chakra and my root chakra. In my root chakra, I was using obsidian. I'm dead. I have no more life force. And if you are quote unquote #vote blue from the past 15 years, 10 to 15 years, I want you to know I'm representative of us, because we know what we know. And yet this country is still arrogant in its own way, as it were, in the United States. And now we have a government that is fully criminal, much more so than anything we've ever had, I would suggest. The one thing that they depend on is us feeding our despondency. The one thing they rule with is terror across the world for generations. The one thing we cannot do is feed their fear-mongering and recreate. And yet, I'm here to tell you, if you were in the zones of magic that I'm in, our root chakra is gone. It's dead. That does not mean it's not going to resurrect. That means I have to weave in so much magic into just the basic philosophy and poetry and other work that I'm doing. It is appropriate that my life has slowed down. This video is going with Rudolf Steiner's Calendar of the Soul. And it is ending. The year is ending because Rudolf Steiner, like many of the more thoroughly democratic philosophers and poets of all time, is more attuned to the lunar candle, the lunar moons, the astrology of it all. And, I'm going to one of my main places of ministries after going to another one first. But I'm going to one of my main places of ministry right now, and where I was in conversation with another spiritualist, and I asked that spiritualist the last time I was here, which is very devastating. Again, and then I drew my root chakra from my personal set yesterday, and I'm not devastated. I'm devastated because my root chakra's gone. It's not that it can't resurrect. It's that what my other spiritualist friend, who's an astrologist, told me is, because I asked the question, which is a good question, but astrologists are very much outnumbered in the United States in this time, and we can't even put a date on it. He just knew that. And I trust him for that kind of general conversation. Then going home with my own personal rune, my own personal chakra. You have to understand I have I Ching and my other set of chakra, but I don't have Ralph H. Bloom runes today. I don't know if I have my wood runes. That's not what I'm doing today. And so I'm there, and I'm basically asking myself, coming to the end of Calendar of the Soul, do I do this another year? And it's like, sweetheart, it's not just this year. You need to do it for 4 more years, because democracy needs to stay alive. And I can't say that strongly enough as the woman I am after all the loss. And I have lost so many relationships, and there are no understandable reasons why. So as a person who hasn't worked for money for a long time, see, the only thing, and I've known this for years, the only thing that is worth anything is if you work for a living. That's what makes up people's souls anymore, is their careers. And that's appropriate until you're me. And I had to take a vow of poverty a year and a half ago. It's in one of my rune books. And now I know why. Because it takes a lot of work to be you, and it takes a lot of work to be me, and we cannot stop democracy's trajectory. No matter what happens to the federal and state-to-state governments, we cannot stop what does cause and allow our democracy to grow. And I think it's appropriate that some of us in my culture, we're going back to sourdough bread. It's a very health-giving form of bread. This is my daily bread, is in the Bible. And, Jesus himself broke bread and fed it to multitudes because they weren't doing so good politically back then either, and people were hungry. And my partner and I are having to have discussions of, it looks like our economic bracket is going to be okay. But I said, I talked to my son about our property 2 years ago, year and a half. I said, be prepared. We may end up with tents on the drain field. I could see that they were going to start hitting the poor again, and here they go. I asked my partner last night, are you ready? Because just because they don't care about us, Michael Jackson, doesn't mean we're going to see people go hungry any more than it meant that when we were in house church as Protestants, which we are not now, Protestants. My partner doesn't know what he is. I'm a sorceress. Just walked into our local coffee shop and somebody asked me, can you pull a card for me? And I had started the conversation because he has a hurt foot. So I listened to him kindly. And I said, no, I don't do that. But then as I was starting my work, which I've got to go finish, as I was starting my work, I just told him, rune stones are really good. See, and people don't want to touch the spiritual stuff. And I get it. I had several other groups coming in and out too. And so what I'm going to say to the Vote Blue crowd is something I appreciate. Jeff Tiedrich, who is somebody I trust implicitly. He should be president as far as I'm concerned. God damn, this stuff is obvious. I was reading one of his articles in a Substack yesterday, which I'm going to get it out when I get home, hopefully. But he said at the end of the article, we have got to move on now. But self-care, if you just need to pause and do self-care, we have got to move on. Well, I can tell you I'm doing both, y'all, because my root chakra's dead. And if I read some of y'all's, they probably are too. That's what I've got to tell you. But calendar of the soul, I'm just getting started. I'm not going to be a whiny bitch. That's my public statement to you. I'm not going to be a whiny bitch. Okay? Yeah, calendar of the soul is going to be seeing a lot more books because it matters what the little bits we feed our soul. And I don't know when my root chakra is going to be resurrected, but it ain't today. I'm reading proper books to resurrect myself, but I'm not going to resurrect myself the hard set way like I used to do, loving people who were against me anyway. It is better this time to lose the relationships and stop mourning what other people were willing to do to me, because I have people, my own mother was willing to disinherit me. She had her fucking reasons. Well, I have my reasons to call it quits, to forgive her, and to move on. But I can tell you this, I have moved on more alone now than I have ever been. And I don't know what that means, and I know what that means. But for all intents and purposes, some of the main portions of my soul are dead getting to this point. And the resurrection is going to take a while. And because I'm going to let you share the journey. Now, I have said this before a long time ago in my ministry, and I'm going to say it again. You see the books that I put up. You see the artwork. Get the books. Study with me. That's all I can beg you to do. I will slow down and do artwork because I can, because our bills are paid. But are you willing, middle class United States, to throw tents in the backyards or put bedrolls on your living room floor because people can't afford rent? Because I'm willing. You know the famous saying, where there's a will, there's a way. They will see me having my first cup of coffee at my dining room table where they can have coffee too. I've set up coffee and tea upstairs so that we can have privacy somehow, some way. Who knows how many people are going to end up in bedrolls on my living room floor. We need to think that way, because God damn it, they don't care about us. So this is going in. Calendar of the Soul by Rudolf Steiner. I made a change. Let me see if I can find it. I'll just show you that page because it's got to go up later. My people in my house are so sweet. They got me together a nice big screen so that I can type away and produce my stuff. And I'm very blessed that they care about me. And I want you to be cared for too, whomever you are. And keep producing what you're producing. Don't think that we don't need you. Don't think it. That's bullshit. That's despondency that they want you to feel. I dropped my egg bite from Starbucks, or my sandwich I was at Starbucks. I had seen and declared 1555 on the 6th of February. And then I said, this morning, I said, starting over in this series, going from one full moon to another. And I had already announced that I was going from one full moon to another on this one. And this is the 13th of February. So do you see how long it took me to get this message? And there's my little bit of breakfast because I broke my fast. And so you'll see the rest of it. It's already up on Blue Sky. I did not put it up on Twitter because while I'm still on Twitter, that's complicated. Okay. I live in a town where Tesla is here, and I am a sorceress. And while I couldn't throw that sweet man's, a card for him to help him along, we're going to have to learn to pick up our own souls and walk on and nourish ourselves. And so I did what I could for him. I help people laugh. That's all I know to tell you right now. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so Calendar of the Soul, I want to just put it on the shelf by Rudolf Steiner. The answer is no. Because the real truths matter. My philosophers, I bought a book of allegory and poetry prophecy, Stephen Vincent Benet, about Babylon. So that's going to be coming out. I'm just not sure which blog. And I Ching, I guess I'm going to have to make another blog. Because you can't share I Ching. It's too deep. So, I've got my iPad. I might wait till this afternoon to do that. Anyway, I'm so tired. And I'm not allowed to be. And I have a feeling you're that way too, whomever you are. That is good. We are we. This is Beaty-Coffey of the Ministry of Uncovering No More.